Space, a place of great wonder, mystery, and intrigue, but also great danger. And perhaps no greater danger than the mighty space hawk, cousin to the space penguin, arch foe of the space giraffe. Now, before we begin, someone's probably going to point it out, so I'll just cut to the chase. Yes, it looks like an asteroid's clone, because it kinda started life out as one. It was initially going to be a version of asteroids for the Intellivision, but the lawyers over at Mattel saw this as something that could get them into a legal battle, so they had the game changed. Now you play a space hunter, hunting space hawks with your space laser gas gun. In space! I know, right? That's astounding. Where do they come up with these ideas? I mean, a space hunter in space. I would have assumed it was a space hunter at the ocean, but that's just me. Now, it's a pretty basic game. You control your space hunter using the control disc on the Intellivision controller. You have a button that fires your space gas laser, and then you also have a secondary button which will actually set it to auto-fire. In addition, you have a button that allows you to disable whether or not you have inertia after you turn on your jetpack. So it allows you to sort of customize your experience depending on how you want to play, and that's cool that it gives you that option. You also have a hyperspace button, which will get you out of trouble in a pinch, or it could put you in more trouble. Now your job is to hunt this space hawk. While it's on screen, you can also run into comets and gas clouds that are created by the space hawk, so it would behoove you to take it down as fast as possible. Another really cool thing is after you gain a certain amount of score, it will display the HUD of the game, showing you your score, your lives, what have you. This is neat because it's gone the rest of the game, which means it doesn't interfere or distract you from the gameplay. It's just a cool feature. Another mechanic worth noting are black holes. Now, this was initially a programming bug in the game, where, just based on how the Intellivision controller was designed, your space hunter would teleport at random intervals, just because it thought you were hitting the hyperspace button even if you weren't. So they wrote it into the story in such a way that your hunter is avoiding miniature black holes, and that's just awesome that they turned a bug into a feature and an integral part of the rich and deep and quite intriguing storyline of this game. Why are you hunting the space hawk? Did it wrong you? Did it eat your children? Are you just a cold, ruthless bastard trying to kill it? All these many questions will probably never be answered, but they might be if you play Space Hawk. The presentation is good. It's a starry space background, but everything else is really colorful and just sort of pops out at you. It's a good use of the aesthetic. The soundtrack, for what little there is a nice little opening jingle. I really like the sound effects, though, because it sounds like someone just making the sound with their mouth. They're like going every time your jetpack fires up. That's just classic sound effects right there. The biggest problem with this game is the same with pretty much every other Intellivision game ever made. The controls. Specifically, that god-awful Intellivision controller. For those of you who don't know, it was essentially a square block with a little plastic circle that was basically placed over a directional pad, and that was how you moved. It was this obnoxious little disc. And then you basically had a number pad that was like a really old school cell phone. Ugh, awful controller. But it's a fun game. A little basic, but back then most of them were. The replayability from this game all stems from your score. How many hawks can you take down? How long can you survive? Now you can pick it up on the Intellivision, of course. You can pick it up on the Intellivision Lives collection on the Xbox, GameCube, PS2. I believe there was a DS version as well. And as I understand it, you can pick it up as a download in the Microsoft Xbox 360 Game Room. That's a thing. If you like space games and you're still rocking the Intellivision, I suggest you pick up Space Hawk.